What's up everybody, Emperor John Kill 3D Gaming here with another video, and this time, let's take a look back at one of the best, if not arguably the best Assassin's Creed game to date, still to this day, Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag, and with a supposed remake, or a rumored, confirmed, I don't know, of Black Flag coming in the future. I wanted to look back at this one in particular. I've played every single Assassin's Creed game throughout the run of the franchise except for Shadows, which I don't have. So, I pretty much have played, like I said, every single game and their DLCs. Now, this look back will be a two-parter. This one will be focusing on the main Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag, and then when I make a second video, it will be on Freedom Cry and the Avalanche DLC, which are two other characters, one from a PS Vita game and the other one from this game, but got its his own DLC expansion, the pirate slave known as Adewale. Now, Black Flag is the best unofficial Pirates of the Caribbean game. Okay, this game is one of the games where you'll say, yeah, why is Assassin's Creed in the title? Because besides the stuff that's obviously Assassin's Creed related with the Templars and the Assassins showing up, if the Templars and the Assassins didn't show up in this game, you would think you're playing a Pirates game. Maybe not an official Pirates of the Caribbean game, but this game does what every Pirates of the Caribbean game fan wish a developer would do. You know, give Pirates of the Caribbean the Hogwarts Legacy treatment if you have to, or hire a competent team to take what was good about Assassin's Creed Black Flag and apply it to a Pirates of the Caribbean game. So, anyway, Black Flag was, without a doubt, one of the most fun, unique, Assassin's Creed games that had ever been made. Like, it's insane. Because this game dropped back in October 29th of 2013 for originally the PS3, 360, and the Wii U, but later released to the PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and the PC. And yeah, ignore those previous gen versions because holy fuck. This game has it all though. Customization. A true pirate's life experience. You know, hunting, scavenging, looting, pillaging, sailing. The world is huge, at least at the time. You know, this map is very big for the time. I know Assassin's Creed maps starting from Origins and forward became insanely massive. And if that's the one thing maybe I would want for a remake of this game to do, is I want to be able to sail to even more places beyond the Caribbean. You know, sail to other parts of the world or other parts of the Americas. You know, regions that we don't fully see in this game. But from the areas you go to, everything about this game is just so full of life, so full of character, so full of charm. And you're going to spend hours just sailing, looking for things, doing challenges, finding treasures. It's one of those, it has the Skyrim effect where you're going on your main quest to get to your main quest line, and then you're going to be like, ooh, what's that off the beaten path? Ooh, there's a big ship over there I can rob. Ooh, what's that cave over there? Ooh, let me hunt some animals. You're going to get distracted. And in a good way. This game has so many activities, but they don't feel tedious like most other games do. Like, going to places like Havana, Cuba, look really bright, really colorful. You know, interacting with the world by using wenches to distract guards, hiring pirates, finding and saving prisoners to become pirates, looking for different shanty songs, or different, eagle drop points for your leap of faith into the hay bales, or anything like that. The assassin in this game is not really an assassin at all. He's a pirate. He adopts and becoming an assassin throughout the game. So it's very unique that it's a guy who's not elegant at all. You know, Edward Kenway is by far one of the best. It's hard to choose between him and the series favorite Ezio Auditore, because the benefit of Ezio had 3 games under his belt. He's got Assassin's Creed 2, Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, and Assassin's Creed Revelations, where this game, Edward Kenway, only has this game for us to really grow to like him, but throughout the course of this game, you will grow to love Edward Kenway because he is also, I believe, the grandfather. Yeah, he's the grandfather of Connor Kenway from Assassin's Creed 3 because this game also acts as a prequel to Assassin's Creed 3. Now, Assassin's Creed 3 used to be my favorite Assassin's Creed for a very long time, even when people would say, oh, Brotherhood is better, Revelations is better, 2 is better, even OG is better. You know, I liked 3. I don't know, it was something about 3 that I really enjoyed, and it introduced in 3 the ship mechanics. Though briefly they were introduced and they're used sparingly, but in this game is where they go full balls to the wall, full tilt, in leaning into its pirate theme, especially when you meet famous historical pirate figures or figures from the Caribbean, because that is a trait amongst all Assassin's Creed games that you're going to meet and interact with historical figures. Like in this game, you befriend Blackbeard, the most dangerous pirate in history. You befriend him, and they make him feel not only is he feared, he is your homie. Okay? Now, you will do traditional Assassin's Creed stuff, from eavesdropping on enemies, following enemies, assassinating specific targets, you know, looking for specific items, hunting throughout the world for anything to progress the story forward. But that's the thing, like I said, if it wasn't because of the assassin, it feels like in this game, to be honest, all the assassin stuff and everything that makes Assassin's Creed is actually feels like an afterthought, because this game feels more so like a Pirates game than an Assassin's Creed game. And that's going to be like a either hit or miss for people who've played the game or still play the game to this day, you know. But the one thing that was unique, I mean, I found these sections kind of boring, but, you know, they give you a chance to look around and explore and get little things where you're an employee in the Animus building, and this time you're actually, quote-unquote, behind enemy lines, because Abstergo, the company Abstergo, are the Templars in the modern era. You basically work for their company, and you go in and out of the Animus like you do in the other games, because in the other games you would play as Desmond going in and out of the Animus, which is also funny because they also talk about the events of Assassin's Creed 3, the death of Desmond. This game does take place after Assassin's Creed 3, but the events of the simulation take place before Connor Kenway in the events of Assassin's Creed 3. So it's a prequel, sequel type of game where the modern era Abstergo missions take place in the timeline that takes place after 3, but then when you go into the Animus and you play as Edward, you will be taken back to the time before Assassin's Creed 3. And the one thing that this game really does well, and you would be like, well, it's a pirate game, of course it should be in it. Hear me out. Normally when I play open world games, for example, where there's any kind of songs that people are like, that plays like radios from Grand Theft Auto, or games that just allow you to randomly, like the radios in Fallout, where you listen to the radios on your Pip-Boy. Here, you don't want to have your crew skipping songs. The pirate shanty songs, all the songs in this game just feel so, they're so good to listen to. They just feel so unique and so accurate to the world. It really sinks you in to this world. Now, you're probably wondering, well, John, Ubisoft did make a separate Pirates game. It's called Skull and Bones. That's not really a Pirates game. Okay? It feels like a free-to-play pirate MMO where you can't even step off the ship. You have to do everything from your ship. Fight. You can't even board ships and do naval combat from going to ship to ship. Would you want to play a game like that where your sole objective is just to stay on your fucking boat? No. Because at least in this game, when you do fight other enemies on the sea, which the game also encourages you to power up your ship, because that's another mechanic of the game, is fighting enemies, finding treasure, finding supplies, finding ingredients, or hunting animals, or progressively get upgrades throughout the course of the story so you're prepared for big battles in the sea. You do feel the difference as you level up your ship. If that's one thing that I love about this game, I was able to turn the Jackdaw, or the Jackdraw, whatever this ship is called, I turned that bitch into the Black Pearl. Okay? The fact that I was able to turn a ship, your main ship in this game, to look like the Black fucking Pearl, you already had me sold. Okay? And the ship mechanics, they work flawlessly between choosing what, controlling the ship itself, choosing your sail length from full sail, no sail, or half sail to pick up the speed of the wind. The environment can change. There can be hurricanes, there can be tornadoes, there can be capsizing waves that happen. Then there's other ships out in the wild, ships that belong to other navies, opposing enemies, and bounty hunters, which, if you continue to destroy ships or capture ships, to add into your fleet, because there's also a fleet mechanic in the game. Though minimal, it's like, okay, it's a nice little distraction and it gives you something to work toward. But ship to ship combat in this game is so damn fun. When you max out all your upgrades, you will be able to take on 2 or 3 ships at the same time. And we're not just talking about the little schooners or the frigates or brigates. We're talking about man-of-wars and warships. You will become powerful enough to take on those. And the ships always have one of 3, or sometimes maybe 2 or 3 objectives, or one extra objective depending on what kind of ship you're attacking. Some of these can be kill a certain amount of enemies, kill a certain amount of captains, or take out scouts, or sometimes it's a combination of doing all of that. Take out this amount of enemies, take out this captain, and take out these scouts, or sometimes it'll say raise the flag, or blow up barrels to cause damage to the internal parts of the ship. You would say, oh, would those objectives get tiresome or repetitive? Yes, they do, but they get shifted around enough, and the fact that the mechanics are so fun, just going out there pillaging and fighting as a pirate, you kind of just ignore the repetitive nature and continue to pursue in the hopes of getting more gold, knocking down your wanted level, healing your ship, because your ship very early on will take a lot of damage, and you could use opposing ships to heal your vessel, or send them off to your fleet for them to do missions for you. If you send them out on a mission to do something, they'll come back with items that you need, or just lowering your wanted level, because the more your wanted level increases, the more bounty hunter ships will come after you. But it can also play into your favor. If you're strong enough to constantly fight them, you can just add them to your ship. Then getting different types of clothing, different types of sails, different types of ornaments. They really went in, and I believe this is when Ubisoft was still somewhat okay. They weren't the full-blown moronic company that they have become today. But at least here, you can see that, okay, there was still enough care and enough passion put into this game. You could spend hours just hunting, and you would still get fulfilled, because hunting gives you a benefit. And that was something they introduced in Assassin's Creed 3, where you would hunt in the wild to give yourself like extra space on your bandolier to hold more guns, knives, upgrading your back quiver. And I'm talking about Connor's upgrades, for an example. But in this game, to be able to hold 4 pistols, you have to hunt different animals where you'll be able to get 4 shots off, and then also sending out your fleet to bring you back items from different parts of the world. And it's up to you to maintain your ships send the ships that are strong enough for dangerous routes, or break down the ships, like break down weaker ships for gemstones to increase stronger ships, or make space for more powerful ships that you come across in the world that you decide to recruit into your forces. And I wish this mechanic was expanded a little bit more, where it would allow you to personally take control of going on these missions, even if you're just on the ship and it does like an autoplay and lets you just do the ship to ship combat. It would have worked really well, but hey, at least for the time, this was also giving you added replayability or more playability, because depending how fast you get through this game, like, the game will fight you if you keep trying to go through the game without exploring or getting yourself stronger or getting your ship stronger. You will get rocked at a certain point in the game, which is why you are encouraged to explore this world. For example, taking out different enemy outposts to unlock fast traveling across the seas if you don't want to take your ship. Finding the different leap of faith areas for you to get different areas to fast travel within fast travel. They really went in with the traversal in this game. And if I do have a nitpick, this game suffers what every Assassin's Creed game suffers. And even the ones that are good, Assassin's Creed has a problem with its parkour system. It's like you could get a flow going, and something that could be out of your control, or hell, even something you didn't touch, like the rim corner of like a bar, and your character will fidget around and trying to go up and down out of your control. Or sometimes when you're trying to stealth specific enemies, because that's the problem that I have with this game, like one of the very few nitpicks is you don't enter stealth willingly like you can in the other games. In this one, you're relegated to just hide. When you go into the bushes, that's how you do stealth. Or when you hide in like an outhouse, or hide in the trees or the haystacks, that's the only time you can hide. You don't independently go into like a crouching thing automatically. And sometimes that could fuck you up in this game, because your target won't always follow you or fall for the distraction, or they won't always be alone for you to try to kill them. So you do have to improvise, but something as simple as just having you be able to have a separate stealth button could have actually just solved a lot of the problems, But other than that, the combat, and this is when Assassin's Creed combat was at its peak, the combat in this game still is very fun. You're fighting appropriate enemies to the era, you're using weapons appropriate to the era, and Edward Kenway does not fight like an assassin. He fights like a fucking pirate. Now, the one aspect that I do miss about this game, it was hard for me to get footage for because the multiplayer is basically non-existent. So I'm going to give you from my old experiences with the little bit of footage that I did get. Assassin's Creed multiplayer is highly underrated. I remember playing Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, Revelations, and this one online. The tension. These matches were filled with so much tension because anybody could be an assassin. Anybody could be the target. And you're not playing as characters from the campaign, you're playing as regular NPCs. So can you imagine if you see a group of NPCs that look the same and you walk right by it, chances are you're going to get shanked. And they had a plethora of characters in the multiplayer, for you to get to the hang of and play with. Also, different upgrades. You can level up and create different custom variants of these characters. My favorite ability personally is to be stealthful, to create morphing and cloning, because that would throw off my enemies so fucking bad that they won't know who they're looking for, and I can go in for the kill. Now the footage I got for the game was from, I think it's Crystal Hunt or Artifact Hunt. The mode I always played in Assassin's Creed was Manhunt. And let me explain to you how Manhunt functions in an Assassin's Creed game. They drop you into a map. It's kind of like a TDM mode, where you have all 4 targets, but you have to wait for one person to become the specific target, and you have to survive for at least a minute to 2 minutes so it can cycle again to see who's the target or who to be hunting for. And there's a lot of hints and indicators to tell you who's the target and who's not. I mean, if you see someone doing parkour in the middle of the map that looks like an NPC but they're not an NPC, it's a dead giveaway, you know. But the tension really carried the feeling of any second now I could cut this corner, somebody's going to take my life. Or you're looking at a target and thinking, is that my target or is that not my target? You know, it really adds a level to the mind game to go behind this. And I think this is what made it so different compared to your standard FPSs, Call of Duties, and just generic multiplayers at the time. This one made you feel like this was more of an experience, tension-filled gameplay, rather than just pluck this, pluck that, and go about your merry way. So, Assassin's Creed Black Flag, at the end of the day, was a huge step forward for the franchise. Now the franchise is struggling. You know, when they went into this RPG era, they got lucky with Assassin's Creed Origins and Assassin's Creed to say the name of one of my adopted cats named Ollie, but that's anyway. Assassin's Creed Black Flag, does it need a remake? No. At best, it should have just got an upgraded, you know, maybe a graphics upgrade or a patch upgrade for next gen, and just turn the multiplayer on for that. But why a full-blown remake from the ground up? I don't know. Because at best, it's just going to make the game look prettier. But this game already looked beautiful as it was. The art style they chose was just incredibly beautiful. So, I don't personally agree that this game should be remade, but it just depends how they handle it, because we all know that Ubisoft has just been in the dumpster as of late, especially with Assassin's Creed Shadows. Even though I haven't played it, I know people who have played it, and they're just telling me, wait for it to become free to download, and then give it a try. And I was like, okay. But in the meantime, I have other Assassin's Creed games that I like, that I can go back to, that can hold my time, and this is one of them. Assassin's Creed Black Flag came out at the time when I was leaving high school, so I was just having so much fun playing this game, and had so many fond memories of it, because it was one of my first few games, like literally it was one of the first games that I got when I got a PS4. You know, even before I had the system, I had this game right here, Metal Gear Solid, Call of Duty Ghosts, Battlefield 4, and I know I had something else, but this was one of my first few games on that system, and I spent so much time playing this game, from its multiplayer to its single player. Assassin's Creed Black Flag was just everything. I personally believe that whatever game got Game of the Year that year clearly snubbed this one, because you don't get an experience like this today. You don't get an experience like this anymore. You know, and I'm going to keep saying it, I wish a studio would look at what Black Flag has done and apply that to the IP of Pirates of the Caribbean. Now, don't get me wrong, there's been plenty of Pirates of the Caribbean games, and each of them were fun for their own reasons, or they were unique in their own right, but to be able to fully traverse the Caribbean, being able to create your own ship, gather your own crew, go on your own adventures, you know, the world of Pirates of the Caribbean would allow for that. Like, it wouldn't be nothing contradicting the movies, you know, especially if you set it in a time period. Like, I think Pirates of the Caribbean takes place during or at the end of the golden age of piracy. So maybe you could set a game that takes place during the beginning or the middle of the golden age of piracy, where it can make sense if you're your own custom character and you can meet characters before you meet them in the movies. So, Assassin's Creed Black Flag will go down as one of the best Assassin's Creed games of all time, and I just hope that this remake or supposed remake that's coming out is actually really good, because I'm very apprehensive about it, especially that it's Ubisoft. But I heard that it's not even the team that's been doing the current Assassin's Creeds. I think it's going to be another team doing it, so hopefully they don't fuck it up. Because if they fuck it up, I mean, we still got the original, don't get me wrong, but they could have averted the problem entirely if they would have just created an updated version of this game. You know, a remaster, a port, a re-release, you know, a next gen free upgrade or a $10 upgrade. Who the fuck knows? They could have done that with this game. But overall, the game on its own is still very strong. Even 13 years later, people are still talking about Assassin's Creed Black Flag. You know, that just shows you the impact that this game still has to this day. And it was a huge risk that Ubisoft took with going into this direction. But this is what happens when you do go into uncharted territory and succeed. You know, perhaps Ubisoft should look back at their old Assassin's Creed lineup and understand what made these games loved by the fans, especially this one. Because you're not going to tell me, or you damn sure can't tell me, that whenever you talk to an Assassin's Creed fan, that this game does not pop up in conversation. This game, along with Assassin's Creed 2 and Brotherhood, always come up in the top 3 of the best Assassin's Creed games of all time. So, that's all I got to say about Assassin's Creed Black Flag. It was so good to go through this game again and to take a look back at it and what made it so great. But be sure to look out for part 2, which will be on Freedom Cry and the Aveline expansion. And as always, this is Emperor John Kill 3D Gaming. Be sure to like, subscribe, favorite. I'll check you all in the next live stream or in the next video, or I'll see you in the comments. Later, guys, and take care.